I'm going to extract gluten from the following lines because they're too bloated and fat. Notice there's no sounds in the back because there's no tracks that can get down with these flows that I slap. All I need is these stacked traps and this hat to crap on everybody and rap. This is Mark Bell from SuperTraining.tv, Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West, answering more questions today for the Power Project, brought to you by HowMuchYouBench.net, The Slingshot, and the only freaking strength magazine in the world, ThePowerMagazine.com. Also brought to you by BSN, the makers of NO Explode. I am loaded up on NO Explode right now. That's why I'm fired up. I'm about to go to the gym, and I'm about to go do a power cast with Katie Hogan. The Katie Hogan, the ultimate CrossFitian. Katie Hogan is doing SEAL Fit training, CrossFit training, powerlifting, weightlifting. We are going to get to the bottom line. We are going to get down to the bottom of those short shorts that she wears, and we're going to figure out just what it is Katie Hogan is after with all this crazy hardcore training that she's doing. Anyway, let's get to the question of the day for the Power Project, and let's talk about this question a little bit more in general. The question is about bicep pain, bicep tendonitis. So we're going to talk about bicep pain, elbow tendonitis, and also talk to it as it is in you'll feel that type of pain in the bench press as well as the squat, and sometimes even some other exercise. So let's get down to business. First of all, I always say protect yourself before you wreck yourself. There's things that you can utilize in your training to help prevent injury and to work around injury. So you're better off putting on a protective device before you get hurt instead of after you get hurt. Once you get hurt, it's hard to work through the injury. It's hard to work around the injury. And let's face it, it's tough to work in pain. Speaking of pain, how painful is it for you guys to sit here and watch me try to figure out how to wear a cap, a knitted cap, a winter cap, and giant sunglasses at the same time? It's really, I think some other invention needs to come about because of this type of thing. This is just not working. And there's other things we can do. We can try to push the hat back up more like this, and we can kind of go like that. But then our ears aren't covered and it's kind of cold out. Cold for California anyway. And then you can try to go like over the glasses, which is not a good look. I mean, I look gangstered out. I look like I'm thugging. I'm going to get pulled over. I got the Escalade over there somewhere, right there. Oh, it's kind of hard to do right there. So with the Escalade, the shades, and the knitted cap, I mean, I'm bound to be thrown in jail. Anyway, at least it covers up my head muffin, or this, whatever the hell you want to call it, my unibrow, my head cleavage, as some of you on the Power Project have called it. But let's get back to this thing. So you can cover things up, and you can put on a wrap of some sort. You can wear a slingshot. That'll help with elbow pain, elbow tendonitis, as well as an elbow sleeve from HowMuchYouBench.net. I'm not trying to turn this into a commercial. I'm trying to give you useful information. You can use any sleeve you want, but this sleeve in particular is superior to a neoprene sleeve. A neoprene sleeve will not grab you and stretch around the muscle and give you the acute attention that you need to that pain that you have in your elbow the way that this guy will. This is a size 6. I'm about 260 pounds, so it just gives you a reference in terms of sizes. Most popular size, usually about 5.5. It does not have to be tight for it to be right, contrary to popular belief, guys. It doesn't have to be all that tight. It doesn't have to cut off circulation, but they will stretch. So if you order one, keep that in mind. It will stretch a little bit. But if you have one that's like this, by the time you put your elbows back for a squat, or by the time you put your elbow back for a bench press, it'll load up and it'll stretch with you just slightly anyway. So if it's not tight, it will still catch you and still help alleviate pain. And yes, it's great for tendonitis, tendinosis, elbow, tennis elbow, whatever the hell you want to call it. But let's get to the root of the problem. The root of the problem is not necessarily your elbow. The root of the problem is coming from your shoulders. So you're going to have to work on shoulder mobility, shoulder stability, and you're going to have to get in there on that shoulder and also through your tricep and through your elbow and maybe even through the bicep. And you're going to have to dig out some sliding surface injuries, as Kelly Starrett calls it. A sliding surface injury, let's talk about that for a second. So, when you're going to do something during the day, you go to reach for a piece of paper or a cup of coffee or whatever, and your elbow gets that little and then you got to figure out, okay, now I'm going to move my elbow this way so it doesn't click, it doesn't pop, it doesn't get stuck. I know that many of you experience that. I experience that every single day in my life. That is a sliding surface injury. You'll notice that if somebody just goes like this, like that, you can move, and not only can you move better, but you can move better without as much pain. That is a sliding surface injury. You can take care of those, for the most part, on your own. So here's a couple things you can do. Take a tennis ball, a lacrosse ball, a softball, your own balls. Take some balls and stick them in your tricep and in your bicep and roll them around. Most likely, your pain is probably coming from about right here. Right in the bicep tendon, shoulder area. It all kind of meets up right there. The pec is right there as well. Get in there with a lacrosse ball. Do about 2 to 4 minutes before a workout. You can even take your arm, and this is kind of funny to watch me do this, and you can stick it behind your back. And then you can lean up against the wall with the lacrosse ball to the lacrosse ball right on the front of the shoulder there / bicep area, and work through and around the elbow and stuff as well if you have elbow tendonitis and elbow pain. You also have to realize the bicep is a decelerator of your arm, just like your rotator cuffs are as well. And the reason why they exist, for those of you who pitch or catch, for those of you that like to throw baseball or football, or those of you that are bench pressing and trying to do so explosively, or even like MMA, that kind of stuff, throwing punches, you have to realize that your biceps are a decelerator of your arm. Sometimes the principle of awareness, just knowing why these things hurt, can oftentimes help you fix them. In this case, your bicep is kind of working overtime when you're doing movements like a bench press. You're doing movements like a squat even. And the reason why is because your shoulder mobility is not optimal. Your shoulder mobility sucks, and you need to work on that. And I'm not going to get into too much of that, but you can go on mobilitywod.com and look at some of the information there to help your shoulders move better, which in turn will help your bicep and elbow move better, which in turn will get rid of that damn nagging pain you're getting in here. How many of you set the barbell back in the rack, you're done with your set, and your arms hurt worse than even when you were performing the exercise? Hurts 10 times worse by putting the weight back. Well, that's that aching feeling that you have is, again, because your bicep is a decelerator of your arm, and it's trying to slow your arm down as you're coming up and through, and you have poor external rotation, and it's putting too much stress on the bicep tendon, shoulder, and so on. You also are probably lacking internal rotation, which is causing a lot of the pain as well. So internal rotation, this is really simple to do. Get on the flow, and you can see I start to stop right there. My internal rotation is not good. Get on the floor, have a partner, no homo, as we say on the PowerCast, no hetero. Get on the floor, have someone take their shoe off, and have them dig their heel into here as you're trying to move your arm around. Upstream, downstream, they can get into the pec, they can get into the shoulder, they can get into that bicep tendon. You want to have them zigzag back and forth. Whoops. But that's kind of the motion you want to have them doing, back and forth, like yay, like you're playing with the man in the little boat sort of deal. So yeah, you want to try to get in there nice and deep and try to continually work your arm downward and get a little more range of motion out of it and get that elbow to kick upward. Also, understand and realize that warming up can go a long way. It's kind of a forgotten art form, if you will. Make sure you're warming up. Something I've been doing as of late is just grabbing, and this is super scientific here, so bear with me. Bear with me. Rawr. Anybody been on Adult Bear Finder? Just me? Okay, anyway. So grab like 3-pound dumbbells or 5-pound dumbbells. Doesn't have to be heavy. I like to do a bunch of trips with it, and all I do is I just walk. I walk like this. I look like a retard. More retard than I do with my glasses and my hat. And I do that. I do several laps of that. I don't even count the reps. I just do it. Part of the reason why I'm walking is just to get a little bit more exercise and to get the body warmer, to burn more calories, and also just a stability factor. I'm moving and I'm moving. So you're moving in two different ways. See how scientific that was? The other thing I do is I go forward. I do forward walk. I sometimes will do the same thing and walk backwards. Imagine that. So there are some things that I do to warm up my shoulders, and I would suggest that you do a couple more things before you start your bench training, even before you start your squat session. If you're having elbow pain and bicep pain on the squat, which is very common for powerlifters, open up those pecs a little bit, do some flies, try to stretch at the bottom a little bit, get those pecs to open up, get those shoulders to open up a little bit more betterist, and you should be on your way to having healthier biceps. Another exercise that I highly recommend is an incline barbell, or incline, almost impossible, incline dumbbell curl. Barbell curl would be quite painful as it would hit you in the gut or hit you in the nuts every single time. So grab, again, kind of light dumbbells, force the elbows outward like this here, and you're gonna be shocked at how freaking painful that is in your shoulders. Go with a slight incline at first. Over the course of several training sessions, work your way into more of an inclined position. You may have to put something down for the back of your head. It's kind of awkward to figure out where to put your head. The best thing to do is kind of rest your head back and keep your head neutral in line with your body, and don't allow those shoulders to really rotate forward. So the major problem that you're having with this bicep tendonitis, bicep pain, and so on is all stemming from the shoulder. You have poor internal, poor external rotation. When you're coming to the bottom of the bench press, you're kind of getting into here a little too much. The shoulder is rolling forward. It's putting too much stress right in this area here. So to alleviate that, check out Mobility WOD, do some different stretches. Also work on the sliding surface injuries. You got ice, you got electric stim. And again, protect yourself before you wreck yourself. Look into getting some elbow sleeves from howmuchyoubench.net. There's different size elbow sleeves, so you can even hork these bad boys all the way up to the bicep if you want. We've had people in my gym do that, and they've had a lot of success. Strength is never a weakness, and that is it from supertraining.tv. Later.